with a WWE Hall of Famer talking about an in-ring return and more. This is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. Announcing the closing of WXW, the son of one half of the Wild Samoans, Afa, said this on Facebook. Long post warning, LOL. I've been trying to find the right words for this letter for a few hours now, and I'm struggling. Emotions are running wild within me, so please bear with me. This might get a little long. My whole life, literally every single day of my life, has involved pro wrestling, and I really mean that literally, as my father Afa, the Wild Samoan, was released from his contract at the time with the WWF for leaving tour to watch my birth. And as we know, my pops getting fired on my birth would never stop him from building a dynasty, and that was a work in progress long before that October 1984 night. I'll sum up my childhood real quick for you all. It's very simple. Pro wrestling. I was literally in a ring before I could walk on my own because we had a ring in our backyard. My father would train and mold our entire family in that Connecticut backyard. All my cousins from Yokozuna to Rikishi and my brothers Sam and Lloyd and all of Pop's friends and potential prospects just trying to get their feet in the door. Until we moved to Pennsylvania, my pops had an official training center under Jordan Lanes in Allentown, Pennsylvania. That's where I really began to understand the importance of my father's role in this industry. At that time, my father was really setting the standard in pro wrestling training, as he was the original WWE developmental camp. At that time, he was the only sanctioned camp in the world backed by WWE themselves. And to think, all this started in a Connecticut backyard, and sure enough, my father was back on the road with WWE, managing my brother and cousin as the head shrinkers. The funny thing is, though, Pops never slowed down. He kept his training center open and offered a place for the superstars to train, and he was also a successful pro wrestler promoter, TWWF and WXW, who kept the Allentown, Northeast Pennsylvania wrestling territory alive even after WWE left. Pops would run shows that would feature active WWE wrestlers. We have had so many contracted wrestlers on my father's events, it's crazy to look back. People like Owen Hart, Yokozuna, Rikishi, Savio Vega, Bruno Sammartino, D'Lo Brown, Mark Henry, The Rock, Undertaker, Kane, Road Dogg, Chris Jericho, Mick Foley, Eddie Guerrero, Too Cool. Like, literally, I can keep going all day long, but you get the idea. All contracted wrestling performing in the independent level for our fans. My father pulled that off, and there hasn't been an independent promoter since able to accomplish that neither. And that's just the contractual LOL, not even to mention the ones that would leave my father's company and head into superstardom. Guys and girls like Billy Kidman, Kanyon, Snitsky, Eric Young, Beth Phoenix, Matt Stryker, Gail Kim, Mercedes Martinez, Low Key, Homicide, Trent Acid, Umaga, Rosie, and Batista. And trust me, I've left a lot out of this one too. Fast forward a bunch of venue changes and locations. Pop settled down in Mineola, Florida, where we kept WXW alive. While down there, he continued to train superstars of today while promoting shows at his local city hall. My father has trained and groomed literally thousands of people within our great industry, not just stars, but everyone in between, because for every one star my dad would train, there was hundreds and hundreds of others as well. Last night at his WXW event, he announced that he will be closing WXW in April 13th, will be the final WXW event ever. I never thought I would see a day where WXW wasn't there. This announcement caught me off guard, and really I've been struggling to process it. WXW has always been more than some indie to me. WXW was always more than the training center. WXW was my safe place, my escape, my home team. I represented WXW just as proudly as I've represented the world's top company, and I did that with pride. WXW is home to me, but like all great things, time waits for nothing, and it's time for WXW to take its place among the stars as one of the greatest professional wrestling companies to ever open. The memories WXW have created over the years will last forever. So thank you to my father for giving so many people a place to chase their dreams. Thank you to all the wrestlers over the years. You all have impacted our lives in so many ways. Thank you to all the fans and friends and family who have supported WXW all these years. Thank you to WXW for giving me my start in everything I know about this this great industry. Thank you to all who have helped in any way. Thank you to all of the sponsors and production teams and agents and all the backstage stuff that's important to keeping things going. Thank you to everyone who took the time to read this. I'll sign off with this. It's something I'll never forget, and it's something I know a lot within remember as well. The bigger, the better, better than the rest. Farewell, WXW. I miss you already. Love, Alpha Jr., first ever WXW Grand Slam champion. Speaking about working with R-Truth and his tendency to make others break character, Damian Priest said this to Inside the Ropes. He hasn't gotten close to cracking me. I've been cracked. I'm open. I'm scrambled. He got me. It's unbelievable. I go in and I know what he's going to do. I know he's going to try to do that. I know he's going to try to break me and make me laugh. That's what he does. And no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you're expecting him to say something, it doesn't matter. You look at his face and his delivery, it's impossible to stay serious. Maybe some can keep a straight face, but I'm not one, and I'm usually pretty good at not laughing. I'm a pretty serious person, especially when I need to be, but that guy, he'll break anybody. I really do believe that. He's gotten me a few times. Discussing a possible return to the ring, former WWE star Ryback said this on X.
Yo, I'm the big guy, Ryback. You may remember me from pro wrestling, and you can find me each and every day here live on TikTok at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. The one thing I get over and over and over for almost 8 years straight is, Ryback, when are you going back to WWE? Ryback, when are you going back to pro wrestling? And the answer is, I don't know. The reason I don't know is because in 2016, when I walked out on a multi-million-dollar contract in WWE, I was told I needed a 5-disc fusion and right shoulder replacement at 34 years old. You see, I've had 20 stem cell procedures. I avoided all surgeries with this, and they were able to regrow all 5 discs in my back, now 100%, and that is no longer an issue. My right shoulder that needed to be replaced, as I have no cartilage in the shoulder joint from negligent WWE doctors injecting cortisone into it multiple times a year and lying to me, that has been a much more difficult issue. I have massive scar tissue built up everywhere from my pec, my bicep, my tricep, my shoulder, my rear delt, and all the rhomboid and scapula region and trap region, in which if we could finish breaking up this scar tissue, which takes daily work, there is a possibility that I will be able to return to pro wrestling in some capacity, and I am remaining optimistic towards that goal. Until that time, though, I'm perfectly happy running my Feed Me More Nutrition, The Ryback Show, and all Ryback social media. And that's the last bite. Feed me more.
At a gym, one half of the Bollywood boys, Sunil Singh, ran into John Cena.
I'm here with a pretty big Shah Rukh Khan fan.
You never know what you can learn when you choose the path of growth. Here we are in a gym, so we're trying to grow, but there's tons of paths for growth, and I'm going to try my best to learn a song.
This is for you, Mr. Shah Rukh Khan. It kind of goes like this. It's a big hit song. It goes like this. Goli si surat,
Goli si surat,
aankhon mein masti,
aankhon mein masti,
dur kari sharmaye,
dur kari sharmaye,
aye haye.
aye aye.
Mr. Shah Rukh Khan, you let us know how this goes.
Giving a health update on Steve Mongo McMichael, who was recently hospitalized, Jarrett Payton wrote on X, "Great news, Mongo is feeling better and he's responding well to the antibiotics. The hope is to have him back at home on Tuesday. Please keep sending us your thoughts and prayers for Steve and his family." Touching on the upcoming debut of Mercedes Mone in AEW, Eric Bischoff said this on his Strictly Business podcast. You know, you may see a bump, I'm sure. She's got a lot of fans out there. So yeah, she'll get a bump. Do I think it will break 1 million? They may not get 900, which is a win. And in today's environment, anything over 7 or anything over 800 is, cause for celebration, I guess. It's a little better than that, depending on what they're up against. But basketball right now doesn't matter. It's like in its early season, basketball doesn't start mattering until later on in the season. So depending on what they're up against, 875, maybe 880, somewhere near there. And it'll go right back down to whatever it's been within 3 weeks. That'd be it. Reviewing his match from WrestleMania 38 against Kevin Owens, Stone Cold Steve Austin told ESPN, "I dissect what I did, and I know that I can improve on what I did. I said I'd never get in a ring again unless all the stars aligned. For some reason, somehow, they all did. At the age of 57, I headlined the first night of WrestleMania. I never thought I'd do that. If you'd have told me that when I retired in 2003, I'd have said, you're crazy. So I'm not going to sit here and say no to anything because you never say never in this crazy business of sports entertainment. I love the sports entertainment business more than anything I've ever done in my life. You get a dose of it and you want more. Here I'm talking to you a couple of years later about doing it again. That's how addicting it is to me, just to talk about it. I get excited and I'll start talking too fast, but it's not going to happen, but it could." Speaking about making a return to in-ring action in professional wrestling, Kane said this to David Gornowski: "I am probably not getting in the ring. I watch it now, and I'm amazed at how athletic everybody is. I don't think my body can take that kind of punishment anymore, you know? We always say never, so I leave the door open to many different things." Reacting to his overall rating on his character of 93 in WWE 2K24, Cody Rhodes told Up, Up, Down, Down, "It's low 90s, but you know what it is? It's an A. Is it an A+? No, but then again, 2K24 means there's probably going to be a 2K25. Maybe I can go for the A+ then." Asked about his return to WWE, CM Punk said this to Aaron Bronstetter: "Time. I think time is everything. Saying never, you learn real fast. It's not just this business or the wrestling business or any business. It's life. You never say never. Whoever thought I would fight in the UFC? I was afforded an opportunity by Lorenzo Fertitta and Dana White, and I would be kicking myself to this day if I said no. I'm not a guy that lives with regret. Like, I will seize opportunities whether someone on the internet thinks I deserve them or not. I work hard for my dreams and I will always chase them. I think a lot of clouds parted and time heals all wounds. So when it came back to wrestling, it was just the right time." Noting how he is open to making a WWE comeback, Tyler Breeze said this to Developmentally Speaking: "Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't see why not. It's one of those things where it's kind of crazy to think about. I'm only 36, which I guess because I was hired when I was like 23 and I started wrestling when I was 19. It feels like forever and it feels like I should be 50 or 60, but I am 36. As CM Punk was injured during the Royal Rumble after taking Drew McIntyre's Future Shock DDT, McIntyre said this about the promo segment between him and Punk on the Raw after the event, saying to West Sport, "To me, that's kind of the thing right now. There is this freedom in WWE, especially for people that the company can trust to go out there and be you and be what you feel is right within reason. The certain ones of us they can trust on the microphone. There is that feeling of, I'm going to try some stuff. A lot of it to me is, I think this is hilarious. I think this works for the character. I think this is going to be a heck of a moment. I want to build Punk up and say I can relate to him and say truthful things. Everything for me has to be based in truth for me and that character, because if it's real to me, it's real to everybody else and you'll feel it. Punk and I did have issues when I was younger. All that stuff is true. I went in there and told him I've been through injuries. I've had moments taken away from me and I can understand that. He spoke about one of his friends and him going through chemotherapy and how that's a real hero. I could relate to that. I didn't know that until I was watching backstage. My mother went through the same. Unfortunately, that's how she passed. I told him I could relate to all this stuff. When it comes to the injury and how I felt him coming into the company and leapfrogging superstars trying to take spots at WrestleMania, particularly my spot at WrestleMania, I wasn't going to let it happen. I took him out and I wanted to let him know I prayed for this to happen. The way people reacted was like a delayed reaction. Did he just say that? I could feel it in the arena. The next line was, after the Rumble, when I got eliminated by you, I couldn't sleep. I let myself down. I let the world down not winning the Rumble, but more specifically getting eliminated by Punk. The next day I found out he torn his tricep off the bone, and that night I slept like a baby and headed into Raw with a big smile on my face. Then attacked him, stomped his tricep, and chucked him out the door. Where were we? Me main eventing WrestleMania. That's it. You have to be professionals. I don't wish anyone to be hurt, no matter what the personal feelings are, no matter if they are rooted in reality, because they are. You just have to hope everybody is a professional and they understand we're trying to entertain the fans. To me, that works in reality and what's real. You watch boxing or UFC, if you know the two fighters absolutely despise each other, you're way more invested than just hugging and buddy-buddy. If they're screaming and getting pulled apart in press conferences, trash talking, and social media attacks, you're more invested if you feel this is a legitimate issue here. If there is a legitimate issue, turn it up to 10. Revealing how much a fan spent on her OnlyFans, former WWE star Mandy Rose said on her Power Alphas podcast, I've had one person, I won't say any names, one person, and this is on Fan Time, spend $55,000 on me. One person, $55,000. So in my head, I'm like, what does he do for a living that he's able to spend this kind of money on one person? $55,000. And it wasn't even like less than. It was definitely over a little time period, but it was, yeah, wild. So thank you. Recalling her match against Charlotte Flair not being one of the main events for WrestleMania 39, Rhea Ripley said this to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful. Yeah, I mean, obviously I understand why we weren't the main event. I do. I have to give it to the guys. They had a very compelling story going into WrestleMania to the point that Mommy was interested and Mommy wanted to see who was going to come up victorious. Revealing who was behind the Bloodline segment featuring The Rock on SmackDown, Ringside News said Triple H, Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, The Rock, Brian Gewirtz, and Michael Hayes were credited for crafting The Rock segment on WWE SmackDown episode aired on February 16th. Going over how a Chicago law firm is reaching out to victims of Vince McMahon given the latest allegations against him, Ringside News wrote that Vince McMahon is facing allegations of sexual trafficking and misconduct from Janelle Grant. In the lawsuit, Grant claims that McMahon distributed explicit content of her without consent, implicating other WWE personnel, undisclosed executives, and wrestling stars. A Chicago-based law firm, Pintus & Mullins, is actively seeking victims related to allegations against Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and WWE. The law firm has launched a website, WWEsettlements.com, featuring a contact form for individuals who may have experienced, quote, sexual assault, made to feel uncomfortable, or witnessed abuse by Vince McMahon or anyone from WWE/UFC, unquote, suggesting potential entitlement to compensation. The site mentions an ongoing investigation into Vince McMahon and WWE/UFC for sexual assault and sex trafficking, citing former employees who have come forward with allegations of serious misconduct. The statement on the website highlights previous accusations, including a 1992 claim by Rita Chatterton, the first female referee, who alleged rape by Vince McMahon while traveling with him in his limousine. It also notes that in 2022, investigators seized documents revealing non-disclosure agreements and multi-million-dollar payouts to cover up sexual misconduct. The law firm emphasizes its commitment to assisting abuse victims, encouraging them to fill out the provided form or call for for a confidential and free consultation with one of their female attorneys. Vince McMahon and WWE/UFC are under investigation for sexual assault and sex trafficking after former employees of WWE/UFC came forward with allegations of profoundly disturbing misconduct. According to a recent lawsuit, the founder and other leaders forced employees to participate in sexual acts by threatening to terminate their employment and share intimate images of them. This is not the first time Vince McMahon or WWE/UFC have faced accusations of sex abuse. In 1992, Rita Chatterton, the first female referee, came forward with allegations that she was raped by Vince McMahon while traveling with him in his limousine. In 2022, investigators seized documents and discovered non-disclosure agreements and multi-million-dollar payouts covering up sexual misconduct. Thousands of abuse victims are speaking up every year to receive the compensation and justice they deserve. Fill in the form above or call us today for a confidential and free conversation with one of our female attorneys. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.